I asked my boss for the afternoon off for work to do Top of the Pops, went straight to #1, and I've been in the business ever since.
In the summertime, when the weather is high, you can stretch right up and touch the sky.
Would you please welcome on stage the legendary Mungo Jerry?
I'm still around because I'm persistent and I'm not going to go away. Somebody wrote about me to get rid of me, who had to tie me to a raft and throw me out to sea. Right.
Historically, pop culture is the voice of the people. And at the moment, the voice of the people is strangled by major record companies that are in it for the bucks. They weren't in the 60s. The message was more important, even to the record companies themselves were on it. Come on, we've got to do this, you know, we have a responsibility here to do this. If we could get back into that vibe again and forget that it's about money, then we could have another halcyon era, because we still have the talent, we're still one of the best musical nations in the world, we're just not exploiting it properly.
These days, the record companies are run by lawyers and accountants, and their directive is to make as much money for the company as possible. And they say yes or no as to what material is recorded. And it's not necessarily the kind of music that the public wants.
Technology in the studio has really become a bit of a nightmare, and on top of that, of course, it costs the band a lot of money. So recording costs like spiral, you know, and where we used to go in and make, like with the Stranglers, I made their first album in 5 days, finished. Now it's like 2-3 months to make a record, and you can mix it endless number of times, and you know, I think humans very much are the sort of creatures that like to delay decisions if they can. You know, if you don't have to make a decision today, good, I'll make it tomorrow. Well, all this technology allows you to endlessly not make a decision. And that's not good, I think. I mean, creative work is like, you know, I've also, the best painters are those that slosh it on, you know, and like, yeah, that's it, and walk away and on to the next. And I think it should be like that with music, you know, lay it down, get it down the way it is, and like that'll probably be the best it'll ever be. And that's it, decision's made, finished. Now it's sort of, well, if we don't like the guitar solo, we'll do it again tomorrow. If we don't like the mix, well, we'll remix it for the 20th time. No, it's not good, not good.
Misuse of technology, you could say, in this particular age that we live in. I think when the Beatles recorded Sgt. Pepper, everybody wanted to, that was around then, they wanted to make their own Sgt. Pepper. So they started to play around a lot more with the technology that was available. And, you know, creativity is the ability to use the technology that is available. And so it can be used to an advantage. The good thing about the music from that was recorded in the 50s, 60s, early 70s to a degree, late 70s I'd say no, was the fact that you captured a live performance in the studio. You kept the magic of that moment.
Recording can be great fun, but if you get bogged down into technicalities, it can become a real drag. And if it's a drag, the music suffers, because music is, in essence, a spontaneous outbursting of the human soul, and performance is very important. And if for technical reasons you're tracking on the same lead guitar solo over and over again because that's the way everybody does it, you know, it's going to suffer.
It's the easiest thing in the world to go out and stand on stage and sing a few songs and get paid for it. It's easier than going to work.
Now, you know, we're dealing in 48-track machines and computer-assisted drums and this, that and the other, and it takes the soul out of it, in my view.
I'd say we've got two new generations. We get people like 14, 15 years old through, you know, upwards. And they all seem to get off on what goes down on stage.
Rock and roll was the voice of youth culture, and if we think about, you know, Dylan and the protests against the Vietnam War and the changes that occurred in Britain in the 60s as a direct result of the growing power of youth culture as expressed through its fashion and its music. Yeah, all those things make it quite an important period.
I don't think the 70s were the golden age of music, no. I think the 50s were, to be quite honest. For me, people didn't know anything then, and it was the birth of rock and roll.
So yeah, I'm sorry, the 60s and 70s, early 70s were the halcyon days, but we really ought to get our socks on and make another halcyon days, because we can do it, sure, no probs.
You can't get away from the fact you get to stick down 3 chords and a good rhythm and sing an honest song, and I can guarantee that it will get people tapping their feet and enjoying themselves. And you can put all the technology you like together and spend all the money you like getting hit producers, so-called hit artists, top session musicians, or all the programming and stuff in the world, throw it all together and you can come up with a load of rubbish. No one will be interested. It just sounds as though like a contrived mess, okay? And I think that's what the problem is today. In those days, people went and made their music because they enjoyed it and it was honest. They played a live show, people came and thought, that sounds good, I'd like to go and buy the record. They went to a store and they said, have you got a record by so-and-so? And they said, no. Well, we'll find out. And these people, if they didn't have a record, they'd go and make one. But nowadays, it's the other way around. People think, what do the public want? They try and contrive an album to be sold in the same way that they would sell a packet of soap powder. And we're dealing with real things and real people. It's an art form, okay? And it's like painting a picture. You know, you can't paint it by numbers because there won't be any soul in there.
In the summertime, when the weather is high, you can stretch right up and touch the sky. When the weather's fine, you got women on your mind. Have a drink, have a drive, go out and see what you can find. If a daddy's rich, take her out for a meal. If a daddy's poor, just do what you feel. Speed along the lane, do a turn or a turn of 25. When the sun goes down, you can make it good and live by. When I thank people, when I daddy, when I mean, we love everybody, but we do as we please. When the weather's fine, we go fishing or go sailing in the sea.
Enjoy the rest of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, how about the fabulous Mungo Jerry?
What I do is pretty basic, it's very honest way of performing. I never sold my soul for rock and roll to try and make myself more famous.